Guys, this is Andrew Deng. In this lecture, I will talk about Spring Application Context Container. The Spring Application Context is the Spring's advanced container. Similar to bin factory, it can load the bin definition, where bin together, and depends bin upon request. Additionally, it adds more enterprise-specific functionality such as the ability to resolve textual message from a property file and the ability to publish application events to interested event listener. This container is defined by the application context interface. The application context includes all the functionality of a bin factory. It's generally recommended over bin factory. Bin factory can still used for lightweight applications like a mobile device. The most commonly used application context implementations are: the first is file system XML application context. This container loads the definition of a bins from an XML file. Here, you need to provide the full path of the XML bin configuration file to the constructor. The second one is the class path XML application context. This container loads the definition of the bin from an XML file. Here you do not need to provide the full path of the XML file, but you need to set class path property because this container will look like a bin configuration XML file in class path. The last one is the web XML application context. This container loads the XML file with definitions of all bin from a web application. We already seen an example on ClassPath XML application context container in Spring Hello World example, and we will talk about XML web application context in a separate chapter when we discuss web-based Spring application. So let us see one example on file system XML application context. Let's look at an example here. I define a Hello World Java file, and here I also define a main class. I think there are two important points you should be noticed. The first is to create a factory object where we use the framework API file system XML application context to create the factory bin after loading the bin configuration file from the given path. The file system XML application context API takes care of creating and initializing all the objects. The second step is to use the required bin using getBin method of the created context. This method uses bin ID to return a generic object, which finally can be cascaded to actual object. Once you have an object, you can use this object to call any class method. Next is the bin definition configuration file. So let's do this in IntelliJ IDE. First, we need to choose Maven and JDK, project JDK, choose 1.8, click Next. So that's for today's learning. Thank you for watching.